Hello, hello, hello. Hi,
Hey, hey,
Lamide.
hey. How are
Hi.
you?
I'm good. I'm hanging in there. It's been a busy week, but I kind
Hey.
of don't want to talk about work.
We
Um,
shouldn't actually.
we shouldn't, but it's been
We
super
shouldn't.
busy. But I feel
Uh-huh.
like I'm excited to record. I've been looking forward to this because I need an outlet for this week. So,
Yo,
can I tell you what's been happening to me this week,
please
actually?
do.
I don't know what's been going on, but I've been super duper emotional this week. Like,
Ooh.
the littlest thing makes me cry. You know Love Island? Yeah.
Yeah,
You know the
yeah.
type of show Love Island is.
I
Tell me
do.
why the other day I was at the gym,
Uh-huh.
and for some weird reason I've been working out so much more now because it's just like especially running, it gets my mind off stuff. But I
Uh-huh.
was at the gym, I was watching Love Island, and I started crying
You put it on
after
your phone?
it was
Or it
on
was
my
playing
phone.
on
Yeah.
TV? Okay.
It was on my phone. And I forget what happened. Someone I wanted to get picked, like coupled, they didn't get coupled. And I was weeping. I was like, this is not okay. Then yesterday, I was going somewhere and literally I had just been going from like red lights. I don't know if you've ever been on a long stretch of just back to back
Red lights.
stop signs or
Yeah.
traffic signs,
The
and it's just
worst.
like you're getting stopped. And
The
I had reached
worst.
like the fifth place and it was a red light. Like I could see the green, and then as soon as I got there, it was
You
red.
showed red.
I started
You
crying.
cried. Oh God.
Like, what is wrong with me?
I can only imagine, yo. You know what's crazy? I,
What?
I I I don't even know. But wait, is the new season of Love Island on
On I'm watching 2021, so it's not new. I think it came out like over the summer, but I'm
2021 like Kaz's year?
yes, yes. Don't spoil anything
Oh,
for me.
oh,
Don't.
let me just keep short.
Yes, be quiet.
Because something happened yesterday
Be
and
quiet.
I should just keep short because this
Yes,
will read the whole experience for you right now.
yes.
Thank God I even asked because I was about to blatantly say it before, but like, let me just keep short. Enjoy the show. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Oh my God. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's probably just one of those things. I don't know. I know the funny thing, you guys, not you personally now, I'm talking to the people out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Lolade is a hardcore babe, like strong man kind of babe. So maybe it's the universe's way of saying, yo, hard guy, hard guy. Here are a few
You
tears for
know
you
what's
to
actually funny, Lamide? I'm actually very emotional. I don't know if you know this. However, I do a pretty good job of like putting up a very like hard layer in the sense of
Mm,
like I'm okay, but I
yeah,
would talk
but
about my problems, but like it's never like, oh, I'm crying in front of you. Only like select people I cry in front of, but like
which is what I was about to say. I think maybe it's because I feel like the people that get to see your softer side are a very few
mhm,
people, right? So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
which is why I say hard guy to every, which is why I'm saying hard guy to the audience. 'Cause I
Yeah.
don't think they would get to see that side of it. They might hear
Yeah.
stories about it because we're doing this show, but like,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, you wouldn't see that kind of her part. You wouldn't see that side of her if
Yeah.
you met in public or something, you know.
Yeah. No,
So
definitely. If anything, I give off more like I just want to have a good time, like just laugh and
yeah,
chill, rather than
yeah,
like, oh, I'm
yeah.
crying because I'm sad, or yeah. But that's been my fun fact of the week, and I thought it was interesting. Anything like that happened to you this week? Just fun fact.
Last week,
Hmm.
stroke more most of the weekend, I started watching a little bit of Ratchet TV.
Is
This
Love
past,
Island Ratchet TV?
yes, it's like posh Ratchet TV with
Posh. Okay,
sprinkles of
I'll take
love,
that. I'll take that.
with sprinkle of love stories. Because Some of those things
Lost,
don't make sense.
lost stories. Let's not call it love.
In fact,
Lost.
lost stories. Thanks for the correction. Yo, so I was watching Real Housewives
Oh yeah, yeah,
and
yeah. Your guilty pleasure.
my guilty pleasure. And I skimmed through some different, in fact, I don't know what was what I just went into Hulu. I
Mm-hmm.
typed Real Housewives and I started moving from different, you know how they have Real Housewives New York, Beverly
Mm-hmm.
Hills, that I just started watching the reunion of everything. And what had
Oh.
inspired that was, you know how Nikki did the reunion of the latest season of Real Housewives of Potomac. I watched Nikki's reunion and I started moving from one reunion of a particular franchise to the next, and I was just laughing my ass off. Like, but yeah, that's been me. That's been me so far. That's been me so
Sounds
far.
good. Sounds good. Okay. So for today's topic, you already know this topic. I forget who came up with like the idea for this topic, but I'm actually like super excited because this is slightly different from our typical topics, but I do think it's something that pertains to growing up and adulting. So today's topic is just about like managing parents,
Mhm.
and just like the dynamic of parents, child, from our experiences, relationship from like young to, where we're at right now. So I'm very, very excited because, as you know, for both of us, like family is super important. And
Mhm.
you do have a slightly unfair advantage because I feel like you know my mom a bit more than I know your mom. But
True.
I do know your mom. So it's not like this is like blank off, but
Yeah.
you do have a slightly more advantage.
Yeah. Slight. Slight.
Slight,
Slight.
slight. But can you describe your mom and your dad to me in like, I don't know, 3 words? Like just summarize them, I guess.
Um, my mom is super sweet.
Hmm. I think that's where you get it from. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. My mom's super sweet. She's a hardcore disciplinarian too.
Yeah.
And she's, yeah, she's posh. She's a girly kind of chick. She's super, she's not extreme bougie, but she's bougie. Like she's a girly girl. She
Mm,
uh
okay.
but she has all the regular. I didn't want to be super. She has all the regular nice qualities. She's kind. She's comforting.
Yeah.
She's our darling. She sacrifices. She does all the she has all the amazing mom qualities. But I
Yeah.
didn't just want to
Yeah.
be generic. Yeah. So,
Right. Like these
but
are the
like,
ones that stand out to her. Right.
yes, yeah, she's
Yeah.
super sweet, like really sweet,
Yeah.
and she's what was the second thing I said?
Hard disciplinarian.
Yeah, she's a hardcore disciplinarian. So I'm an only child, but
You
people
got
think
it.
I'm spoiled, but I got it.
You
Yo,
got those.
were you in class the day she laid me on the table and she beat me in class?
I don't remember that, but I also
Oh,
don't
that's
remember a lot of
you
things.
might have gone home that day. It was in the former school, the before we moved to before the Okeho school,
Okay. Uh-huh.
the school in Okeho before we
Yeah,
moved
I
to
remember that.
yeah,
The
before
other
we moved
place.
to the new site. Yeah,
Yeah.
she came and I don't know what I had done, but then it might either be a stupid lie, a childish lie, or something about homework or not doing well. Anyway, Momsy came to school. Maybe you had gone home. I laid down the table in class. She made me lay down the table in class and she beat me. She requested for my teacher's cane and
Oh my
she gave me some
gosh.
strokes, maybe like six.
Wow.
And again, my mom's a teacher, much like your mom. So I mean,
Yeah. That's
She
crazy. Because she could have waited till you guys got home. She
no, she
didn't
didn't
have
wait.
to
She didn't
embarrass
wait.
you
There were,
like
there
that.
were, there were people in class that day.
Yeah,
It's
she did that
possible
on
Emmanuel
purpose.
Ifem was in class. Like, yeah, there were bad people in class that day. Like,
Yo, that's so funny. Because that's something that African parents would do. They want you to be hurting and they want to embarrass the hell out of you.
she made sure it was in public too. Yeah, she
In
wanted people
public.
to see that, yo, he can still get it at any given
Yeah.
day. But yeah, that's my mom. I love her to death. With my dad, he's a neat freak. Like my dad is
Oh.
super neat. Like I
Mm.
didn't get that level of neatness from him. Or I
Are you a
don't.
clean person? Like, would you classify yourself as a clean guy? Or neat, I guess.
I don't want to lie.
Don't
I'm
lie.
okay. I'm
Okay.
okay. I'm accommodating. Like
You do the needful. You don't go out
I
and
yeah,
beyond.
I like the way you said that. I do the needful.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
You know what's so funny? Maybe because of my own experience, but I feel like like neat minor, and I say minor because that's important. Minor
Uh-huh.
OCD in a guy is like
Uh-huh.
slightly attractive to me. Like when you're like super duper neat, like you
Uh-huh.
fold your clothes in a specific way.
Uh-huh.
In my head, I'm just like, yes,
I mean, I can understand that. I can see that, but again, I'm not like the reason why I say
yeah,
I'm not like my dad is because my dad is neat. Like
yeah. I know what you
my
mean.
mom knows what I'm talking about. He's a neat freak. Like quick story, in our former house when my dad was a lot younger,
Hmm.
when my mom's sisters used to come to the crib, first of all, the entire family knows that he's a neat freak. My dad would take off his slides in the house, put his leg on the floor. If he feels a single dust, or if he feels dust on the ground, he would start sweeping. And so my mom's sisters would see him and be like, oh no, that he shouldn't bother and everything. But like they were always careful around him because he gets edgy when the house is not
Like not like super.
sparked.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
he's a
That
neat
makes
freak.
sense.
The
Mhm.
second thing would be he's kind. He's kind. I don't want to say more than that. He's kind, but I necessarily don't feel like that kindness extends towards me like that. But my
That
dad can
happens
be,
sometimes, right? Where like you just feel
it
like your
pisses me
parents
off
are
and
being
I don't want
kind
to
to
get too
other
deep
people.
about it.
Yeah,
But I feel like my dad is kind to the entire world besides me. Like, but I don't want to get too deep about that. But
yeah.
he's
I
very
know.
kind. When I see what he does for people, I'm like, bruh,
Where's that
yeah.
energy? Yeah, yeah,
Where's
yeah.
that?
I've heard about that. Yeah,
Yo.
yeah,
I know I've given you stories personally, but yeah, I'll
yeah.
just keep it at that. It's kind, and I think the third thing I'll say for my dad is mm, he. I don't know. Like again, I don't want to give all the generic things. I'm trying to look for specific, things that stand out to me.
Was he a
He's
disciplinarian like your mom or no?
well, again, because she was the more present one in terms of like giving me those value training,
Hmm.
um habits and stuff like that. Like my mom was the teacher, my mom was the molder. My
Hmm.
dad was just like there. He wasn't like, I don't know how to say it. Like he was present, but he wasn't the one telling me this is how you do this is how you do
Hmm.
that. So I wouldn't say because she already, and again, not to praise myself or pat myself on the back, but I wasn't a problem child. She get what I mean.
Yeah.
My mom was lucky. Like to be honest, I didn't give her stress.
Yeah.
I think she boasts about that anytime. Not boasts, but she thanks God. She genuinely says it like she would have understood because a lot of teenagers are troublesome and all that. I never actually gave her stress, which
Wow.
is a funny thing. Like if she told me, oh, if I told her, oh, I needed to go somewhere, there's a party thing, and she said no, I would just accept. Like I I I wasn't. bugging about trying to find my own way, or I needed
Mm,
to do. Yeah, I was very submissive to them as parents. I think they were really lucky.
mm,
So,
that must be
but
nice.
yeah, maybe the third thing can just be any generic good thing that you guys can think of, or like
Fill in the blank.
fill in the blank. But yeah, how about
Yeah.
you?
I'll start with my mom because you started with your mom. I
Okay.
think the first thing about my mom is hilarious. Like, and I don't think she means to be funny.
You've told me before, yeah.
Like, she's those type of people where she's not even trying to crack a joke, but just the way she like says things or like does certain things, you just like laugh. Um, what else? Oh, the other thing is like, this is not a bad thing because I feel like I can be like this too. But my mom can be dramatic.
I should probably erase one of the things I said and add that to my mom.
Like the way she goes 0 to 100, you're just like, how
Oh
did
my
we get
god.
here?
Oh my
How?
god. I have gist for you after this recording. Something happened
Oh my gosh,
yesterday.
I want to know.
Something happened yesterday, and just know that I agree with you when you say your mom is dramatic.
And it's just like, how? Maybe it's an African mom thing, but yeah, and I know I do have some like dramatic traits in me. However, I don't think mine is like next
You
level. Maybe
think?
when I become a mom, there's that like worry. And usually the dramaticness is like with worry. It's like her mind just goes to like worst case scenario.
Scenario. Why do they
And
do that?
I
I
know.
don't get it.
And the drop, like everything just, yeah. Then the other things, I'm gonna be trying quick. I think my mom is like a socialite. Like she's a very social person.
Mm,
Um, very huge for my mom is like she's extremely intelligent, like
mm,
extremely. And I think I admire how like intellectual she is and just how like I could always have a conversation with her about anything. And she's always willing to learn. I think you mentioned this. Like she's a teacher, so she has a school. Um, but like she's not those type of people that think she knows it all. Like she's always willing to like learn something from me or whoever. And
mhm.
she's a businesswoman. Like my mom is the reason why I'm so like business oriented because she like yeah, she's a badass businesswoman. So that's my mom. My dad is like he's just like cool, calm, collected. That's my dad.
Mhm. The three C's. Yep.
Yeah, he's just like he's just chill. He's a
Mm.
very simple man, like very. Um, he's kind of a man of like few words. Like not saying he doesn't talk because he does, but like if
Mm.
I were to get in trouble, my mom is the one that's gonna be like yelling. Well, this was when I was younger, but like yelling, screaming, and like going all out. Versus my dad would just be like, Olade, I'm disappointed in you. I would have expected much. And the way that shit was stabbed my heart.
Oh my
Expected much
god.
from me.
Yeah.
Um, so and then he's extremely selfless. Like if you see my dad on the
Aww.
road, like you would
Mhm.
think he's a poor man. And not even because like he's giving his stuff to people, but he's just one of those people where it's like he doesn't want too much. He's very simple.
Mhm.
He's like the bare minimum works for me. Um, yeah, that's my dad.
Mm.
He's definitely not dramatic like my mom. He, but I will say this: my dad, like, he can get into like lecturer vibes sometimes, where like if you say, "Oh, Dad, I'm doing this thing," he'll like send you research materials on that thing, like which is great because obviously you're learning so much. Like I learned so much about like financial planning,
Mhm.
money management, all of that. He's also into like his career path was into like sales and finance and all of that.
Mhm.
So that's kind of so he sends me a lot of like information like that. And he's just like wanting to make sure that I'm the most educated version of myself versus my mom. Like we actually like have like conversations and business type of like real world situations versus my
Hmm.
dad is like, oh, read this book, or yeah. So those are my parents. Yeah, I think it's interesting how like they differ
Of
and you get
course,
a little bit of both from them, I think.
of course, my obvious question, indulge me. Do you have a
What's
favorite?
Oh shoot, do I have a favorite?
Or
No.
who's the favorite one?
No.
No,
I don't Okay, I don't have a
no.
favorite.
Isn't it obvious? Like
No.
again, favorite is
Wait,
not this. Favorite is not this. Favorite is not like when it comes to parenting. Favorite is not the deep, deep like
I don't
favorite.
like this
Like
one. I like this
yeah,
one.
it's
Yeah,
not
yeah, yeah.
picking a favorite doesn't mean you don't love the other
It just feels
exponentially.
like a stab. Like, oh, this person is my favorite and this person is. Okay, wait, let me ask you this. Do you think I have a favorite? And if you were to guess, who would you think?
I think you have a favorite, and
Who?
is again, just hear me out. Hear me out.
Okay. Okay.
Hear me out. Just because I know you very well,
Mhm.
I would say it would appear like your mom is your favorite.
Mhm.
However, you're a daddy's girl until he starts to bug you.
My dad actually doesn't bug me. Yeah, he doesn't bug me actually. It's just like I know what you mean when you say bug me. It's like, oh, have you
Yeah,
eaten?
like the airport. No, I say airport, like the passport time and the
Yeah, like
and just
yeah,
little things like that. That would be,
little things.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah. If anything, my mom bugs me more than my dad. Okay, I
ah,
see where you're coming
this is
from.
I know that one steady, steady.
I see where you're coming from, but I'll say this. I don't think I have a favorite because like obviously I love them both dearly. However, I do think I'm closer to my mom. Like my mom, no joke, is like my best friend. And
Yep.
then my dad, I love him so much, but my dad and I just don't have like certain types of conversations.
Yeah.
Um and so I think there's like layers that I have with my dad that I don't have with my mom. So that's why it may seem like I have a favorite, but I definitely don't have a favorite because there are things that my mom gives me a tough time with and my dad doesn't, and like vice versa.
Hmm.
So, but if I had to guess for you, I would say your mom. But question for you, do you have a
What?
favorite?
Let me be politically correct like you too. I beg, I beg. Correctness out the window. My mom is the MVP, man.
MVP.
My mom is the MVP, man.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love, I love them both, but even he knows, like, because
Oh, yeah. Should I tell you something that broke my heart? And this is why for
what?
me it's like hard to be like I have a favorite. So there was one time where, and like I said, my dad is a very like calm guy. So when my dad says something, like it actually weighs a lot versus my mom. Like
Yeah,
not saying what my mom says doesn't weigh a lot, but like she tells me the same thing over and over
I
again.
understand what you, and I think I know. He said
Yeah,
something one time, and you know
yeah.
that for him to say it, he
I fucked up.
probably
Yeah,
means it, and yeah,
yeah.
oh,
So he
oh
was
my
like,
god,
I forgot
yeah,
what happened, but I think I had like called my mom on like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday for something. And then like on Sunday, he called me and he's like, you've spoken to your mom 4 times this week or something. You haven't even called me once to see how
oh
I'm
my
doing.
god,
And it stabbed me. I was like,
oh
oh,
my god,
oh,
no,
I'm
yeah.
sorry. But yeah, no. And yeah, so I do better
Let, let,
now.
let, let me tell you what it is, yeah, Ladi, and I just want to be frank, and I'm
Hmm.
happy. I mean, this is what we have the platform for. This is what it is.
Yeah.
Early stages of our childhood, growing up,
Hmm.
right? They honestly did not want that burden. I don't know why fathers later down the line would now think, oh, I want that attention now. Yeah, you can want it, but you can't blame a child or a now adult. if they can't make that switch or translation as fast as you want. And hear me out. So when we are growing up, they
Hmm.
defer to the moms. The moms should do this. Go meet your mom. Go meet your mom. Go meet your mom. The moms, even if it hurts them or they're tired or whatever, they get used to the flow. They become super involved and in tune with our routine and
Hmm.
conversations, whether dry or funny or whatever. And a lot of kids get comfortable with that. And later on, the fathers want that kind of relationship. Do you get what I
Hmm.
mean? Because
Yeah.
I just feel like they feel left out, and it's a thing of, oh, why you not like, and again, this
Yeah.
varies. It's not on the
Yeah.
extreme
It
for
varies.
everybody, but like I'm not saying I think that's where it comes. They are not bad people, but when we are younger, they're probably more concerned with getting the bag, trying to put food on the table, trying to be like, because a man carries a lot on his shoulders, and it's as hard as it sounds. Sometimes they go through a whole lot, and maybe most of the times they just keep to themselves or just trying to make everybody happy. But later down the line, they want that kind of rapport, they want that kind of relationship, that banter with the kids.
Yeah. I
And
think it's actually interesting. And I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to answer first because it's like a response to what you're saying.
okay.
Because I've always known that like my household wasn't like the typical traditional household because I
Hmm.
feel like my dad did corporate for a while and then my mom was the one that actually like had a business and stuff. But like my dad was the one that supported a lot of it. Like he was like for you to have a business, you have to have like what they call it, the early investments, whatever. And my dad was the one that supported that.
Can I just quickly jump in? I want to quickly praise your dad. So I'm just trying to expand on the points that Lolade's family is different, even down to mindset. So I just want to quickly buttress a point before she
Mhm.
continues eloquently. So Lolade's mom, like she said, is the person that owns the business. However, you guys should know that at every free opportunity that Lolade's dad had, in fact, there was a point in time that Lolade's dad was kind of co-running the school with Lolade's mom because
Mhm.
he would come as often as possible as I can remember,
Mhm.
and he would just be there supporting his
Yeah.
wife, putting in effort and hours. How sexy can that be to a woman
Wow.
when
I need to tell my mom
your
to listen to this
dad
episode.
your dad works in a very big, I won't mention the name of the company,
Yeah.
but comes down to your school as often as possible or as often as he can
Mhm.
and puts in like real hours, like real man hours into, oh, is this done? Why is this not done? How can we grow? How are the kids
Mhm.
doing? What can we do to improve? Like, I mean, I'm sure your mom was working like stiletto heels just knowing that a man like that is in a corner. I found that really, 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 really inspiring. But go ahead. Go
Right.
ahead.
Thank you so much. Like, first of all, I mean, obviously you're talking about my mom and my dad, but like I appreciate you saying that because that's kind of what I've seen. And obviously kids see what their family dynamic is like and they kind of grow and take what they want from that. But that's kind of what I saw too, right? Where it was like my dad worked corporate and he had a really good job, like very, very good job. Because with business, like business is kind of unstable, especially when you're
Hmm.
starting off. And so for the most part, I think in the very beginning of my mom's school, we were financially dependent on my dad heavily. But to your point, there wasn't that like, okay, mommy is the one that's going to come home, make us dinner, and like daddy's the one that's going to go get the money. It wasn't like that in my house. Like not at all. It was like it was a team. And don't
Hmm.
get me wrong, like my mom cooked more because my dad's food is amazing, but it's concussion. But that's
Oh,
what I saw. And so like from a younger age,
mhm,
that whole like mindset of like male, female, the man must do this, the woman must do this.
mhm,
it wasn't like heavily embedded in me.
And I'm
Now,
happy. I'm happy that there are homes like that give that kind of energy because it's needed. It's
yeah,
needed.
yeah. So I
Yeah.
was even gonna say, like, when I was younger, so going back to what
Mm,
you were saying, when I was younger, my mom was a disciplinarian. Like, she was the
mm,
tough one. And I was actually a lot closer to my dad when I was younger. Like,
mm,
daddy was the person that, oh, mommy said I can't have chocolate. Guess what? Daddy's going to give me without her knowing.
mhm,
Or like, oh, mommy said I can't go somewhere. I know she said I can't. She said no, but then I go to daddy acting like I haven't asked my mom. My dad says yes, and I go. So like my
mhm,
dad and I were super duper close. Like when I was younger. However, when I started to grow up, like just become a teenage, not even teenage years, because I think even in teenage years, like we're still very very close. And my mom and I used to like not butt heads, but she was a disciplinarian. So I did have like a fear for her that I didn't
mm.
have for my dad. Not saying I didn't respect my dad because I did, but you know when one person is more likely to slap you than the other person, you're like, okay, let's move away.
Yep, yep,
um,
yep.
but as I grew up and I just started to like become more of a woman, it switched. And not because
Mm.
anything my dad did was wrong, but it was just more so because I I stopped needing my dad for like, hey, you're going to protect me. Not because I don't need my dad's protection, because obviously he's still my dad and like he's still like he goes every day trying to make sure I'm okay, right? But then because
Mhm,
I had gained my independence and I didn't need that immediate protection from him, that's when I would say like my dad and I's closeness drifted far away, and then my mom and I became closer because I started going to my mom for more like, oh, when you were a young woman, like how did you handle this, right? So my mom and I started to
mm,
connect more on like relatability, like, oh, she's gone through this, she wants to know how I'm going through this.
mm,
And then she tamed down heavy, like
mm,
heavy 0 to 100 on the
mm,
disciplinarian. Like I can't even see my mom now and see a disciplinarian. Not because she
mm,
doesn't like advise me or anything, no, but
mm,
it's like before she had a freaking steel hand. Like
mm,
you didn't want to mess with my mom. But then now it's like we joke and like laugh around and everything. So I think
mhm,
that's when it switched for me. Not necessarily because like when I was younger, my dad used to be like, oh, go talk to mom. It was more so I don't know. As a woman, as I've grown up, I relate to less to my dad because like he's a man, I'm a woman. Like the experiences I'm going through now, he didn't go through them from the
mhm,
male perspective.
mhm,
Obviously, there's still some things that I talk to him about and like we can, relate about, but
mhm,
a lot of things um I talk to my mom about, and yeah, I think that's just why I'm closer to my mom now. But again, my dad and I were still G's. It's just for example, let me just give you a random example. Today, my mom is traveling back to Nigeria and she's like eating my mom is kind of bougie, I'm not gonna lie. So she's like part of the flight, the Virgin, like I forget, gold,
Sky
silver,
priority,
sky, whatever,
something.
whatever,
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah. So they go into this room when they're in Heathrow, because that's the layover between like California and Nigeria. And she's just like trying out new like food and stuff. And like my mom and I were super healthy and we're just into like fitness and stuff. And so she called me and she's like, Lade, look at this. Like, I forget what it was. It was some like fancy name, but it was some veggies that she was just excited about. And we can just relate. My
Mhm.
dad, if he's eating, he's not gonna call me to like laugh over.
Vegetables.
You get so just like random shit like that. That
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah. I feel you said you were going to ask me a question. Did
Okay,
you
so my
forget?
question for you
Okay.
is, you know how I've kind of explained how my relationship with my dad and my mom has
Uh
evolved.
huh.
Has did that happen for you for both parents or for one parent and not the other?
Yeah. So, very good question, actually. And I would say yes. Short answer, yes. And how would be that? So, you know how I said my mom's a heavy disciplinarian and all that.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, she again, the relationship is so unique because as much as I love her,
Hmm.
I think I've hated her as much in the same breath
I know that feeling.
for a period of time, and
Yes,
it just made no sense sometimes. And yes, sometimes my dad would be like the comforting factor
right?
in that sense. He's not super, he's not an emotional guy, so I don't expect the most. But the mere fact that he wasn't the bad guy at that point in time was comforting enough for me.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
um I think my mom, of course, like I said, because I loved her a lot, I hated her a lot because she very huge on discipline and all that. So I felt she was just too rigid. She didn't get it. But because again, I said I was a super submissive guy, I didn't give her a hard time. So it's just be like a one off kind of thing. But we've had so many fights and all that. But because my dad was not the ever present, kind of thing,
Mhm.
she was she had the guy conversations with me, the quote unquote conversations that should have been had maybe from my dad with me. She had that with me. And she also, so she gave me like both perspectives. You get what I mean,
Mm,
And which is where I feel she has the unfair advantage.
mm, yeah.
My my dad did never had those kind of meal conversations, what, let's go fishing or let's go on a trip or let's do this, let's do them. I had all the weird conversations with my mom. I had all the chilling conversations with my mom. I had all the my sex talk conversation was with my
Are
mom.
you serious? Okay,
My
actually, we'll talk about that.
so it was
Yeah. Wait,
it was my
question for you though.
okay,
Would you
yeah.
say, so it sounds like you and your dad's dynamic pretty much like stayed like,
So that's what I was just about to round up. With my dad for a very long time, no relationship on that level like that at
hmm.
all. But I think now, as I've gotten older, we've now he's kind of respected me. I see respect there now. So
Mm,
we have conversations like friends. Like my dad and I now can go to a bar or somewhere and actually have conversation. You would think he's talking to his friend. Do you get
I
what I
love
mean?
that.
Like we
Yeah.
we talk like G's now. So where the switch happened, I don't know. I didn't pay attention enough. But
Yeah.
there's respect there now between us. If I'm talking to my dad now, you think I'm talking to a friend of mine and all that.
Yeah.
Again, people say I talk like an old man, but like we talk like G's and
Yeah.
all that, like big men conversing. That's how we talk
Hmm.
now. And he has this kind of respect for me. I don't know what I did to earn it, but I'm happy I earned it. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Your mom is not, she's not like still a disciplinarian though, right?
oh, now she's like, she's a disciplinarian with her words. I wouldn't call it disciplinarian,
Mm.
disciplinarian. She's just like, she said her piece. If you like, take it. In fact, my mom starts her statements now with, this is just my own 2 cents. So I'm just saying, whether you want to take it or not, if you take it, it's fine. But if you decide not to take it, it's also fine. When you know she's dying for you to take her advice,
And if you
she's
don't
not
take
like,
it, she's going to repeat it every
"Hey, you
day.
get what I'm like, you already know." So yeah, that's where we're at now. The dynamic wise, that's where we're at now.
I
That's
love
where
that.
we're at
I
now.
love that.
I'd like to know, freedom wise, do you think you were given like freedom when you were younger? I have a very
Um,
short answer to that, but
yeah, what's your answer?
nope.
No.
I think I
But
mentioned
for you though,
it.
I see why. You're the only child. For us.
Again, you're very correct because she has told me time and time again, boldly, like she doesn't hide it. She's like, people have 4 kids, 5 kids. As
Yeah.
God has given me only one, dude, you might not like it, but I'm playing checkers with you, bro. Like,
Right.
you are my only one. And again, she's older than that age now where she can have another one. And I don't think she's ready to do the work to train another kid from the beginning.
Yeah.
So she's
Right.
like, you're my only one. So just take it as it is. If you like, hate me or not. But that's always been her defense over the years that
Yeah.
people have four, five, three, whatever. She has only one. And she's gonna do what she has to do. Whether I think I'm deprived of like whatever or not. She's like, yo, she's gonna protect hers, and that's that. So I
Hmm.
get that from her own angle. She's protecting her own peace and joy. So I
Yeah.
get that.
No, I definitely see that. I think for me, I would not say I didn't have freedom because I do think I did. My siblings, I'm the last child, and I think we've said this before, but depending on how you were born, that actually factors into your parents' relationship with you. If we're being honest. But I'm the last child, and I think they were already like older. They did have the agile and just energy to deal with all of that. But I did
Mhm.
get freedom. But I would say I had freedom with a limit. So like I was still very sheltered and like catered for. I couldn't just do whatever I wanted, but
Mhm.
they allowed me do stuff. But I have a very like interesting question for you, and I think you already mentioned it. Did you ever have like intimate conversations with your parents about like sex, dating, things like that? And
Yes,
how did
so
it go
I
down? Okay, please
did.
tell me.
Yes, so Mrs. Lawa, oh God. Yo, it was the weirdest thing ever. And it was my mom. Let me just put that right out there.
Hmm.
And the first time it was weird. Every time after that, it was just annoying.
Okay.
Simply put. So my mom is who someone in Yoruba, the Yoruba word for the funny Yoruba way of calling my mom's love for repeating the obvious or repeating herself is atenumo. Atenumo
Mm,
means she applies pressure on what she's saying. Like she'll repeat the same thing over and over and over. You get the message already, but my mom will continue saying it, saying it,
yeah.
saying it.
Yeah.
So
Just in case you forgot, you know.
just in case I forget. So yeah, the conversation was super awkward. I think it was one morning. I wake up
Hmm.
and she's like, yo, I want to talk to you about something.
In the
And my mom's
morning
very
too.
direct now. You're becoming a man now. Your penis starting to get
Penis.
hard and everything.
I'm
And part,
envisioning this
part part of this
conversation.
conversation is in Yoruba, so she probably must have said penis in Yoruba and everything. The penis starts to get hard. I want you to be very careful. There's a dangerous word out there. Please be very careful. Respect women and all that, and make sure you stay off that until like you're ready for marriage and stuff like that. God's design for you, and she'll tie it in with scriptures
Hmm.
and everything. She would be like, be very careful, how you move, who your friends are with, respect women, things like that. And again, I just felt like that conversation, I felt I had gotten it to loud
Right.
and clear. But no, not Mrs. Lawal. Another day, we'll be like, yo, you're good? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. She'll be like, very good, because I don't want to hear any stories of one pregnant. And it would
It was like
again dive
pregnancy.
back into, yeah, she would dive back into like the sex conversation again and all that. But yeah, she had that talk with me,
I think
and
that's
she
actually
didn't hold
really
anything back. She was
right.
very direct and very raw, so to speak, with
I kind of
everything.
like that. Did she talk to you about like protection and all of that, or no? Or was that even an
Okay,
option?
No, because the message she was driving is
Don't do it.
sex, not again. So yeah, yeah, yeah. She wasn't. My mom didn't come to me from the angle of use protection, no. Oh, which is
Yeah.
weird when I see in movies now, and when parents are like, "Oh, use protection if you must," I'm like, "Bruh,
You
see
have that
parents
option.
now. You have that option, self." My
Wow.
mom didn't come. She was like, "Nah." The kind of fear my mom puts in me,
Oh my
boy.
gosh. Wow.
I would see a woman, I would just move left, like, who are you? I'm
Who
like,
are you?
hey, bro, I would zone you before you zone me.
Hi. That's funny. Okay, I have two stories. First of all, I didn't have this conversation with my dad. Never have. With my mom, okay, I have two stories with sex. So there's one with my mom, one with my godmom. With my mom, my mom till this day has not sat me down to be like, okay, sex is so and so and so. Obviously, she can't do that right now with my big age. But when I was younger, she never did that. What it was your body is the temple of the Lord. Um, don't let anybody what are the words that she would say? Don't let anybody defile you or just and at that age it was kind of like
Mhm.
someone was speaking in parables to me because I'm like,
Mm,
what are you saying?
mhm,
Okay, my body is the temple of the Lord, but okay, don't let anyone defile you. Defile how? Or don't let anyone uh make you dirty. Just like I said, parables. It was just like, what is this? And so
mhm,
we never actually had that conversation of like, sex is what you do.
mm,
These are the ways to avoid it. So we never even had the conversation about like STDs or protect, like none of that. None of that. All of that came from just, living, I guess, in my environment.
mhm,
Now, on the flip side, my godmom, love her to death. I was staying with her and her kids for like a holiday because that was the time my mom was in the States and I was in Nigeria and I came on
mhm,
my period. That was like my very first period. I want to say I was like 10. And
mhm,
like my mom had the period talk with me actually. She did a pretty good job with that. She told me about it, kind of like walked me through the process of like what to expect, pads, tampons, like all of that. So
mhm,
we had that conversation. However, again, when you haven't experienced it, for a young girl, like it doesn't really add up. It
mhm,
makes sense to an extent, but it doesn't add up
mhm.
until your body actually like starts to go through the physical like change of
Changes,
ovulation and all of
yeah,
that.
yeah.
So when it came, I wasn't home. I was with my godmom. And like obviously when it came, all of the things my mom had said, like it didn't come to mind at first. It was just like, okay, what is this? Like I feel weird, da 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 da. So that day when I got home, I told my godmom, I was like, oh, I saw this, da, 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 da. And she was like, oh, that's amazing. You're now a woman, so and so and so. Like, this is amazing. Don't worry about it. Do this, do this. And then after I had like showered, taken care of myself, whatever, she now brought me to the living room and she's like, okay, Lolade, sit down. So now that you are a woman, you need to be very careful. And I remember these words because I was traumatized. She was like,
Ah,
you need to be very, very careful
mhm.
because if you touch a man, you're going to be pregnant. Lamide, she said it like 3 or 4 times. If you touch him, and in my head, I was like, oh shoot,
Oh my
I had played with some
god.
boys at school. Like
And you're gonna
before,
get pregnant?
I, I was so scared. For like 3 nights
Bruh.
after that, I was like worried, like, oh, I was so nervous, like those 3 days. And I was just like so anxious because in my head, I was like, okay, if I touch a boy, I'm gonna get pregnant. And I didn't understand if she meant like when I'm on my period, if I touch a boy, do I get pregnant? Or from now onwards, if I touch a boy, do I like those details? Nothing.
Mhm,
And then when I got back home, I told my mom about it. My mom was like, ah, no, she just means if you allow a boy to, again, the parables, defile you, make you unholy, just like throwing words out there that a 10-year-old girl at
And
the
you're like, what
time,
is this?
and mind you, at that time, like we didn't have access to, well, for me specifically, I didn't have access to a lot of the things that kids now have access to. Because maybe if
Mm,
I was 10 now, I may have
mhm.
seen stuff on TikTok or like YouTube that would have prepped me for like, okay, defiling means you and like at that time, defiling was like, um, what? So no, my mom did not have the sex talk with me. I learned as I went. Bless her soul. Till today, we're still speaking parables. We thank God.
That's very funny. I can imagine. We thank God. Oh. God, God has been a very, very safe space for parents or our moms to communicate. Like, that kind of thing. They'll be using parables to like
Ah,
describe family members
we
and
say
all
unholy,
sorts.
unholy ground.
Unholy,
Don't put. Like,
ground.
what does that mean?
You'll be like, this type of girls, daughters of Jezebel, beware. I don't like Jezebel. Oh my
Even
god.
sometimes I even like went into the Bible because I'm like, yeah, but
It's
yeah.
a bit, do you butt heads? I'm guessing, yeah, you kind of touched on it, but like, do you butt heads a lot with your parents, and like, how do you manage conflict with them? Like,
Mm.
how do you do that? How do you go about that?
So I don't butt heads a lot with my
Or what do you
parents
butt heads on? Let me
on
phrase that. What do you
typically.
butt heads on? Yeah.
Yeah, so I would say we go through phases, my parents and I. So there was definitely a phase, I don't know, maybe 18 to 20, where my big head thought like, oh, I got this shit. I could do it on my own. I'm independent. So I stopped like
Hmm.
checking in as much. I was kind of distancing myself, not purposefully, but just like, I wouldn't check in and they would worry a lot and I'll be like, why are you tripping type of thing.
Hmm.
So we used to butt heads then. Um, and I didn't manage it well because like I wasn't really, I don't know. Now I actually, with maturity and everything, I appreciate my parents. Like,
Mm.
so for me, it's like I'm not even checking in because it makes you feel good. I'm checking in because like I genuinely want to check in and like I miss you guys as much as you guys miss me. Um, but other things, so them telling me and enforcing me to do certain things rather than like them just giving me their advice because I'm at this point where like I'm making decisions for myself rather than like having them make decisions for me. And I do know that they want my best interest, so I do take their advice. Not I don't take their advice lightly. Like I it weighs a lot for me.
Hmm.
However, I also want them to know that I'm not living my life for them. So it's a balance. So
Hmm.
that um with my mom, I would say she doesn't do this anymore, but it was definitely a thing where she was very like she let the pressure of like African parenting get to her of just like, as a girl, don't let your like your clock, biological clock catch up with you. Um uh find a man. And for me it's like no, like I'm not gonna get a man because I need them or
Hmm.
because like my mom wants me to get married and like in outdated African history
Hmm.
or culture, it's like being married is that like cherished thing. I'm gonna get married
Yeah.
because I found my person. I'm gonna get married because there's this person that adds to me and like I want to
Hmm.
grow. It's like a want rather than like need. So she
Hmm.
understands that and she doesn't enforce that on me, but I would say my sister had a worser end of the stick with that, especially because my sister's older. But from my perspective, my mom is doing a lot better. Like she doesn't put that pressure on us anymore at all. With my dad, I think I mentioned this earlier. My dad is a very big like he wants you to be as educated as you could possibly be.
Hmm.
And so when I graduated college, it was definitely that balance of like pushing back on, hey guys, like let me explore first. Like you don't, because most of my siblings went into masters like straight away, and that's a thing for a lot of Nigerians, right? It's like you
Mhm.
graduate, what are you doing? Get your master's, like go, 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 go. But for me, it's like I wasn't even really sure. And so I did have that like struggle a little bit. It wasn't that much because my dad is not like he tells you, tells you, tells you. He just like says something, but you know how much it weighs on him. And so I really had to converse with him a lot of times around like the reason why I wasn't ready to go back to school and get another education. And he understood it, but it's just like finding that balance. So how do I manage conflicts with them? I do talk to them. Like I actually talk to my mom like she's my friend. And my mom does
Mhm.
the same with me because there are times where I've upset her. Like I remember there was one time where she did something to me that upset me, and like how I handled it, she didn't like it. And she was like, I didn't really like how you like handle that conversation, and I apologize. So you kind of strip away, oh, this is mom, this is dad. I have to do what mom says, or I have to do what dad
Mhm.
says. You strip all of that away and just see yourself as like individuals. And I think that's also really important, is because nowadays I stopped seeing my parents as like, oh, they know it all. I still have that like heavy respect for them because they have so much more experience in life than I do.
Mhm.
However, I kind of also see them as people who are still figuring out life too, right? Like we
Mhm.
all don't have it figured out. Like they're, yes, they're older, but they make mistakes and they learn from it, and they have good days, they have bad days. So
Mhm.
understanding that has helped our relationship a lot, because I could just talk to my dad and be like, what's going on? Like, are you okay? How is work going? Same
Right.
with my
Mhm.
mom and my dad. Yeah. So
I totally get what you're saying. And with me, I don't know. I butt heads with them on I butt heads with them on like opinion differences. So like
mhm,
just things that, because I've always told my mom that I'm not going to be the typical traditional guy
yeah.
of this is how things are done or have been done, and so I have to. Like, as much of a simple guy as I am, there are just some things that don't sit well with me culturally
Mhm.
and maybe traditionally that I'm not going to get myself involved in.
Yeah.
And she's not a super traditional person too, but because she's a very strong personality,
Yeah.
she feels, and because we are very close, she tends to feel like whatever she agrees with should naturally flow to me too. I should
Yeah.
agree with too.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
had to put like a firm foot down towards the end of my teens, or maybe yeah, like 19 upwards to like 23. Then she started getting it like 24, and now upwards she has just like, chilled out with like he's gonna do what he's gonna do, but I trust he will always do the right thing. That's where we are now. But like,
Mhm.
yeah, we butt heads. We butt heads a lot. Some on religion, on religious practices, some on marriage
Mm.
choices, some on just character, yeah, traits, character traits, right? And yeah, just a few things, nothing major to be honest, but we fight a lot. So she's a pretty good, because she's an educator. She she has a good understanding of the English language,
Oh
and
God.
she reads a lot of meaning into words. Like,
Yeah.
she understands how emotions are a part of word usage. Do you
Mhm.
understand what I mean? I think, which is why people might call me too emotional, but I get that from her. So you know how you can tell me shut up, yeah? The way you would tell me shut up in different scenarios, I can pick off the energy. There's a day you can tell me shut up and it will hurt me so bad
Mm-hmm.
because I knew that shut up was like go and die. And I would take that and I would dip it and I'll just die in silence, literally, and keep to myself and be like, oh, Lade could say that to me, that kind of thing after everything we've been through and after what we represent to each other, whatever, blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
So I took that from her. So because we are both like that, whenever she says some things to me, ha, I'll let her know that you can't speak to me like that and say you love me, stuff like that. Yo.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, because of we are similar, like I'm also very, very good with words too.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So if I dish it back to her too,
Mhm.
sometimes she tears up and she's like, you don't say that to your mom. It's not abusive. Again, I don't know how to explain this thing. It's not abusive, but it hurts. Like, again, people think because I don't know how to explain, but I'm good with it. Like, and I learned that from her. I'm good with words, so I can say things to her in the most respectful manner, and she knows that I'm trying to hurt her, and she would let me know back that I can't do that. Like, because she loves me and does some things, doesn't give me the right. It's just weird, but we butt heads. But I love her more than anything in this world. Like with my dad, we butt heads. In fact, the most recent, which I told you before I came, oh, that one just broke the camel's back. But we're cool again. Like we're G's.
Yeah.
Right, G's. And managing conflict with them is confrontational, like in the sense of I would have to speak my mind and just let them know. At least with
Yeah.
my mom, anyway, we can have conversations. Like
Mm-hmm.
my mom and I can have the hard conversations, which I've learned. I think she taught me that. Like, I say how I feel in the most respectful and sweetest manner to her. So yeah, that's how we manage conflict. Like
This episode just made my heart so warm and fuzzy. I always like laugh at my mom. I'm like, yeah, I don't know if the podcast is for you because she always wants to listen. But this episode, I think I might actually send it to her and be like, listen.
oh my god. But yeah, I mean our parents are the real MVPs.
Right.
I
Yeah.
think the
Whoever's
sacrifices they made for us.
Yeah, whoever is listening to this, like, love on your parents, show them love. We're getting into what the festive periods, and so
Mhm.
there's going to be a lot of family. And parents doesn't necessarily just mean your mom and dad, because I know they're even for me, like my mom and
Mhm.
dad are my parents, but I have two
Hmm.
moms, like two dads, like my
I was
aunt,
just
my
about to tell
uncle.
you that I have big mommy, I have
Yeah,
small mommy, I have.
exactly. Like all of those people that mean so much
It
to
really
you.
does take a village.
It
It really
does.
does
It
take a
does.
village.
Yeah. So send all those people love and just appreciate all of that this period
Yeah,
because I
yeah.
don't think it's something we should take for granted. Like our
Mhm.
village, our community, like family,
Mhm.
it shapes us to be what we are and
Mm.
yeah, it's important. It's very important.
On that note, we have come to the end of another beautiful episode
Yes.
of Adult Puzzle.
Yes.
And we hope you guys enjoyed it. We really, really had fun in this episode. Please don't forget to subscribe, rate, like, share with all your friends, with all your colleagues, with your family, and wherever you listen to Adult Puzzle. So we're on all digital streaming platforms. So yeah, again, like, share, subscribe, and we're back again, same time, same place next week
Next
for a
week.
very unique and special episode. So yeah,
Yes. It's our
you
final
know,
episode next week for the
for the year,
season.
yeah,
For the
for the
season.
season.
We're coming back next year. But Yeah, expect that next week. We're not gonna give too much away because we actually
Oh,
haven't
wait,
recorded
yeah,
it.
it's actually going to be a really, really fun episode. So,
Yes, yes,
yeah, we look forward to seeing you guys next week. Bye
yes.
bye.
Bye.